From ages 2 to 11, preschool sports will be able to teach them as individuals and as a team. To sign up or for more information, call 407-463-2061 or check them out at preschoolsportswithaz.com. Better hurry. Season starts January 10th, 2016.
We are back for Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELC on Sports Talk Today, the team. I'm your host, Danny Thompson, checking in tonight with my main man, Paul Myers, and Marc Johnson of NBAFCPRadio.com. My main man, Eric Lopez, over in the booth. Say hi, Eric.
Well, hello, gentlemen. It's been an active night.
Exactly. And our next guest, who's not really a guest, he's part of the family, he's had a busy day today. He is the editor of Orlando Pinstripe Post, and he is talking Orlando Magic for the next about 10 or so minutes. Zach Oliver.
We're going to need more than 10 minutes.
We'll give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot. We're going to give you your intake before we start taking actual live callers in this one between the three of us. So, Zach, busy day with the Orlando Magic. You have some breaking news, actually, so can you go ahead and break it real quick?
Yes, according to the Vertical's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Magic are close to sending Channing Frye to the Los Angeles Clippers. No word yet on the potential return. My guess would be most likely Lance Stevenson. Their contracts work out pretty well. And after the Magic acquired Brandon Jennings earlier in the day, trading for a guy like a Jamal Crawford would make little sense for the Magic.
Yeah.
Lance Stevenson. So now you're going to have Lance Stevenson teaching Elfrid Payton.
I think
Lance Stevenson will be in the deal.
There
you go.
I think they'll buy him out.
Oliver Baum. There you go.
According to Woj, the Clippers are probing another deal somewhere with Stevenson too, so the deal could be on hold currently.
Okay. I don't hate that if I'm the Magic. Listen, they gotta shake things up a little bit. You're gonna have to make some room for future transactions, if you will. So I don't hate the move. It gets you out of Channing Frye's contract, so
which wasn't that bad.
It wasn't terrible, I agree, but it does give you some more flexibility.
The big problem with the Frye move was it just didn't work out.
Not at all.
His fit next to Nick Vucevic, since Vucevic didn't take the step forward defensively like they needed him to, ended up not working out. And I think they're going to end up having the same problem with Ersan Ilyasova. So,
yeah, I didn't quite understand that part. I didn't understand that deal at all. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. It made no sense. Speaking
of that trade, Zach, for those who don't know, the Orlando Magic acquired Brandon Jennings and Ersan Ilyasova for forward Tobias Harris this afternoon. Zach, I know you've been holding this one in all day. What are your thoughts on Tobias Harris for Brandon Jennings and Ersan Ilyasova?
I mean, it's still a little surprising.
I think that's everybody's thought there.
I think that the big thing with this deal is they're buying into Evan Fournier long term.
Seems that way. I agree.
And that might be where they're misguided in this. Maybe Tobias Harris didn't fit with this team long term, and that's fine. But, and I mentioned this on Tuck and O'Neill earlier. If they keep Evan Fournier, they're going with an undersized 3. Fournier has good size. I mean, he's 6'7", so he can realistically play the position, but he's going to get muscled around too much. He can't guard the LeBron Jameses, the Kevin Durants, even the Kawhi Leonards, or the Paul Georges. And that's going to be an issue if the Magic really want to turn this into something special moving forward.
Now, the question behind that is now you bring in Brandon Jennings, you have Elfrid Payton, you have C.J. Watson, who potentially could be back on Friday. Do you think now with all the point guards, I mean, they went through Shabazz Napier, they went through Keith Appling.
Shabazz Napier's bad.
Oh, yeah, but they went through him as a point guard. They used him. They used Keith Appling. Paul's played a little point guard.
They didn't use Keith Appling. Keith Appling was here. He was a mystical pony, I think.
Paul's played a couple point guard games. I think Eric started the preseason at point guard for the Magic as well, too. What will Brandon Jennings bring the Magic right now?
I think that he brings them the potential for somebody who can give them a little bit of a scoring punch off the bench, and it gives them some versatility too in the back, a little bit more versatility in the backcourt. Jennings can play point; he can probably play some 2 also. C.J. Watson can play point; he can play some 2 also. And
how many guys do you need that can do
that? Look, Mark, Paul, I don't need to hear from you right now. I'm trying to talk.
I'm just saying.
But the thing is, with C.J. Watson's injury concerns this season, that's where Brandon Jennings is going to come in more importantly, I think.
Now, Ilyasova, what does that mean for Orlando slam dunk champion Aaron Gordon now?
Aaron Gordon's starting power forward.
I think that's exactly what that move solidified.
Well, Aaron Gordon was a starting power forward no matter what move that they did.
Yes, but I think this was the nail. Like, okay, bam.
This was the nail in the preemptive coffin.
Exactly. Like, yes, it's now Aaron Gordon's position to lose.
So now do you think when they take the court, I think it was on Friday.
Yes, against Dallas.
Do we see Evan Fournier at the 3?
Yes.
With Gordon?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they'll start Peyton, Oladipo, Fournier, Gordon, and Vucevic like they were before the break. Yeah.
Which I actually like that lineup, to be honest.
Well, I mean, now you have some firepower. You have Ilyasova who can hit the 3 off the bench. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming now with this trade, you're going to see more of Jason Smith with Ilyasova because Smith is a better rebounder.
Probably.
You have Brandon Jennings who's going to be firing it. I mean, it seems like pretty much every time he's going to be chucking the basketball.
You know what? I think I don't know about that. I think he brings some. He'll bring something to that second unit that's kind of been missing. The second unit hasn't had.
They haven't had the punch that they need.
Punch and continuity, right? It's missing, it hasn't been fluid.
And the big thing, and this is something that Rob Hennigan mentioned during his press conference, was they needed to bring in some veterans. You know, maybe Jennings and Ilyasova in a vacuum aren't the best veterans that you can bring in, nor Lance Stevenson should this deal with the Clippers end up getting done.
Right.
But
which I think they'll buy him out. I'm on the record.
Yeah, but they're still showing the willingness to move those pieces. Josh Robbins of the Orlando Sentinel reported that the Magic are done making any major moves with any of their key pieces. Elfrid Payton, Victor Oladipo, Mario Hezonja, Gordon, Fournier, and Vucevic are all safe now.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, those are guys that I wouldn't trade unless something came along that impressed me.
Obviously, things can change in 48 hours. If the if you get
you get
offered
that call
Blake
about
Griffin,
Boogie or Blake, yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you're pulling the trigger.
Of course, But my thing is, I think Hennigan is buying into Scott Skiles. Like Skiles probably went to him. I need some junkyard dogs.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of these guys that Orlando had, while talented, were mild-mannered, white-collar kind of guys.
To an extent, yes.
I need somebody going to get in there and bark at somebody and really going to just step their foot on the gas and like, look, man, we're going to go in there. We might start a fight in there. I think that's the kind of guys Skiles wants to coach. And, some of those guys, who Orlando had didn't fit. And guess what? I think the rest of the guys are on alert because it's just like, okay, even if you don't get dealt at the deadline, don't mean that we won't move you in the off season. So you better start growling out there and DMXing out there or something.
Of course, the Magic don't have any pieces that should be considered untouchable at any point.
Now, there was some rumors going on the week. Now, of course, with the untouchable guys now that you just mentioned, two of the guys who are untouchable, that was a reported rumor going on this week, was Victor Oladipo and Nikolai Vucevic to Chicago for Jimmy Butler and those other types of things. At this point in time, Zach, if you're saying something that's going to blow the doors off you right now, would a guy like Jimmy Butler or a guy like DeMarcus Cousins or Blake Griffin be worth blowing the doors off those 6 that you said are safe or not going anywhere by Josh Robbins?
No. I don't think that you...
I don't depends on which ones are.
I mean, sure. If it's Jimmy Butler, no. If it's DeMarcus Cousins, you consider it, depending on what you're giving up. You don't kill your depth and your entire core just to get one guy and hope that it works.
I think for me it's situational. It's going to depend on the pieces. I mean, if they called, let me just throw a hypothetical. If they called about Blake Griffin and they want,
they did. The Magic talked about Blake Griffin,
right? They want
extensively.
They want Hezonja, Oladipo, and Gordon. I'm probably pulling the trigger on that.
I don't think you could do that salary-wise.
I'm just
hypothetical.
Obviously, you'd have salary fillers, but I mean something along those lines. I would make it happen. I
don't know.
I don't think you give up.
Asking Denver for too much. I think he's asking everybody for too much for Blake Griffin. I understand, but
they really are.
I think he went overboard. Asking the Nuggets for 5 players. So if he's talking to Magic, it's going to be more than 3 players. I'll tell you that.
That's my thing. I mean, if the Magic are going to get a high-profile guy, they're giving up They're giving up a lot.
Eric, what do you got to say about that? Because I know you're ready to chime in on this one.
Yeah, I would do it for Cousins or Griffin. You need a star at the end of the day to advance deep in the postseason. And are we sure that Vucevic or Oladipo or any of these guys are going to turn into all-stars? I know, Danny, you feel very highly about Boogie. You got him as a top 5 player in the league. He's a difference maker. See,
the thing is, I do it for Boogie. I would not do it for Griffin.
I would do it for Boogie.
I wouldn't do it for Griffin for one reason. It'll be Dwight 2.0 all over again. He opts out at 18 months.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, that you got to take that into consideration with any deal you make. I mean, so if Griffin's gives you the green light, like, yeah, I'm going to re-sign, okay, fine, then you consider it. Obviously, he doesn't have to honor it unless, the pen is on the paper. But, yeah, Boogie, I think that's a no-brainer. Obviously, you give up Vooch, Oladipo, and, hell, another player. But I don't think the Magic have enough in their arsenal to really pull off a big deal like that.
Woj is reporting that the potential Channing Frye to the Clippers deal is going to be on the back burner for tonight, and there are still other teams, including the Cleveland Cavaliers, calling on Frye.
Okay, I was going to say, if the Cavaliers are calling on Lance Stevenson, can somebody please get a camera for Lance Stevenson and J.R. Smith in the same locker room?
Man.
Mark, can you hear me out? Is that reality television at its best?
Yes. It definitely is.
I'd pay good money for that.
I'm like, man, J.R. Smith smacking fans in New York, and Stevenson, he's smacking people wherever he goes. Yeah, that would be fun.
I mean, can you imagine that first time out? I mean, at that point, if you bring in Lance Stevenson, they need to rehire David Blatt. Because I would love to see a timeout where J.R. Smith does something or LeBron does something wrong and he calls out Lance Stevenson, and to see Stevenson just have a complete Markieff Morris moment. I think it'd be well worth in classic. We're going to go to break. We're going to have everybody call in, Orlando fans especially, all across the league. 407-482-3776 is the number. Once again, 407-482-3776. I know Magic fans have a lot on their mind right now, as well as fans of Charlotte, Memphis, Miami, as well as teams in Detroit. Everybody call in. Talk to myself, Mark, Paul, Zach, and also Elo at the same time, too. So, call in. We'll be right back after these messages for Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC on Sports Talk 1080 The Team.
Starts now.
Another young NFL player stepping aside. Gerard Mayo, after 8 seasons, is retiring. He was the former Rookie of the Year in 2008, a first-team All-Pro in 2010, and he is just 29 years old. Over to the hardwood, Tobias Harris is headed to Detroit. The Magic dealt him for Brandon Jennings and Ersan Ilyasova. Also a 3-team deal for Charlotte. If they get Courtney Lee, P.J. Hairston, Chris Anderson, move on to Memphis, Brian Roberts over to Miami. Blake Griffin finally spoke with the media, apologized to the Clipper organization as well as the fans, and said he regrets the decisions he made the evening. He got into a fight with Matthias Testy, his friend and team manager. College hoops, number 24 Texas leads West Virginia. They're number 10 in America, 60-48 with 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the second. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Napa know-how. Right now at Napa, when you buy 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional oil for just $3.59 a quart, we'll give you either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Hey, wait, what? Well, that makes more sense. We'll give you a bobblehead of either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Valvoline for just $3.59 and a free bobblehead. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing, taxes, and recycling fees extra at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Basketball apparel from DHTK.com. DHTK.com has all the newest and coolest brands, such as